Okay, so I just bought this $300 deal on this Victus 15L, and it's from a refurbisher. The issue is that it intermittently shuts down, which I saw that and I was like, wow, this is a deal, because if I can figure it out, I can sell it for the cheap. But this is a return from somebody, and the vendor claimed on the post that they didn't do anything to it, they didn't open it up. And that makes me think, it's like, holy shit, wait a second, what if they left the customer's hard drive and M.2 in there? No way, dude. That's nuts. That is nuts. This is like, how many gigs is that, Seagate? Like a 1 terabyte. And this M.2 is, I don't even know. 256. The point is, bro, there's a customer data on this thing. That's nuts. That is nuts, bro. But I hope to figure it out and flip it. For 300, even used HP Victus 15L gaming desktop used. So used. This is a 12 core. No, that's a laptop. What the fuck? 15L desktop. Certified refurbished. I don't have that stamp, but like 375, and I paid like a flat 300. 369 with 14 watchers. A little trick on eBay: if you are picking something, click advanced and then sold, and then you'll see how much they sold for. This is certified refurbished for 650. Somebody bought a pre-owned for 240, a 30, but that's a white one, so it's like 300 plus 20, probably around the same amount. It's top rated, so that's probably why the guy got the stamp. This is who I bought. Oh, I actually bought it for 250. So if I can make a 300, that's a good profit. And even if if I were to part it out, or just keep the chassis or make a build out of it, I think a complete PC like this guy with a Ryzen 5 5600 and an AMD 6400 is very decent. It's very good. I would 100% do a case swap just for cooling, but like, you know, micro ATX with it's like 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte for 500. Like, and that was just like 4 days ago. So these guys are a hot market. If you're ever thinking about like what to buy and what to sell and what to flip on eBay, check this out and see how often it's been sold for. But keep in mind, if you don't have this eBay refurbished stamp, you probably can't sell it for what you want to sell it for. But like, wow, this guy got 100 with motherboard. So look at this, right? Like, this guy's not stamped and he sold it for 600, but he had a 3050 in it and a 12th gen i5. I don't think I have that on mine. So always keep that in mind. Mine came with the keyboard and mouse, and you might not think that like helps the sale, but it absolutely does. You can squeeze more out if people are like, oh well, I need this for my office, and you know, I need a keyboard and mouse anyway. I mean, this guy got a bid for like 500, but has like an i7 12th gen. I don't remember. Oh yeah, no, this guy has a Ryzen 5. So you know, a lot of good deals you can do with that. But I'm actually just blown away on the fact that the vendor didn't remove the hard drive. That's nuts. I think that's an insane security risk, and I hope the refurbished item, customer returned it, keeps shutting down. And blue repair messages, we don't know the issue. Okay. And because everything's original, we did not remove or change anything, so we're gonna see whether or not, you know, the first thing I check is dry paste, right? But it says release year was 2023. That's not really enough time for it to crust up and results in, like, you know, power issues. The blue screening, you know, I'm thinking, okay, it's like some sort of DIMM crash, which is no big deal because I can get spare memory for cheap. So like the biggest thing I do, it's like you don't want to fuck with too much shit, you know, while you're in there. Like, you want to be in there as least as possible, that's for sure. But you might as well like just in case it becomes bad, you want to open, do I have LibreCalc? That's right. You want to document as much stuff as you can in terms of like what you have, so if you do need to order it in the future, you don't have to come back and do that stuff. So for my RAM, I have 2 times 8 gigabyte sticks of 3200, and I'm reading it right now. It's like AA official 1. I have 2 mice next to me for no reason. AA for official HP, and then I doubt I'll, like, if I need model number, it's, you know, I'm gonna switch it out for something better. It doesn't really say if it's DDR4 or not, but I'm pretty sure it is. 99. So yeah, that's this. It's just nice to have these lists here, so that way if it is kaput, I could just part it out and have fun that way. AMD Ryzen 4, whatever. Anyway, I'm getting lost in the weeds. So I just put the RAM back in, and then I'm going to set up my monitor and plug this guy in and do a first power up and see whether or not the whole keeps shutting down thing is a genuine issue. Of course, I put the RAM backwards because I'm a genius. This is what you need. Like Intel, when they give stock fans, it's like the most rinky-dink thing in the world. It's like smaller than anything. The heatsink is just tiny, and this is on like Dell Optiplexes and stuff like that. Nowadays, they don't even give you like stock coolers. Like when I bought my i3 9100F, which is up for sale on eBay right now, it came with this cooler. I lost it. I don't know where I kept it. But when I upgraded to i5, my friend had to explain to me that, like, oh yeah, like a lot of the higher end CPUs don't come with like proper coolers, and it's like, yeah, you know, I understand why, because it's like it's just like how some CPU manufacturers don't include integrated graphics because they know that you're going to get a graphics card anyway. But it's like, dude, like if the next thing that somebody's going to go and buy is a Hyper 212, why don't you just offer it in a bundle? Like partner with Cooler Master and sell your Hyper 212s for like $6 more per unit, but it's baked into the CPU. Like the savvy customer won't buy both because they can just oh shit, did I buy? I think I just lowballed the shit out of this guy on eBay and I got the and it just did it again. Function keys, I want to enter BIOS. Right, cycling again. Okay, so I just entered BIOS. Okay, so press escape key for the start menu and escape key to continue. This is interesting. So it's not even going towards the drive. So I want to go escape for setup. So I just found out my BIOS button. So next time this power cycles, I'm going to spam escape. Hello, computer. Okay. Alright. Hardware diagnostics. Storage test, memory test. System board test. Pass. Okay. Can I do a processor test? Pass as well. Memory test. 19 minutes? Jesus, okay. I wanna heal. I wanna feel. I wanna know. Okay, so stages of boot, right? Power, post, then boot. you know, if you're Pixie booting, Pixie, right, and then boot, but we're not doing that because we're doing booting off of SSD, I think, maybe hard drive. So that also means that these could be 2 potential failure points. So what could be occurring is that the system powers, obviously, and then goes through post, wins, tries to boot to hard drive Windows version, and then shebang backs to that, right? So I have a test drive right here with Windows 10, right? So I'll just hook it up and do that, but I also want to mess with BIOS a little bit more. So the memory quick check passed. So let's go back to main menu. I already did the system onboard. I didn't do storage test. Can I do the quick check? Test hard drive, test all drives? I kind of don't want to do it because I know the last time it took long. It's 2 minutes. Okay, cool. That's no big deal. Should be easy peasy. Smart check passed on this guy. So the drives, SMART, it's an acronym, but I don't know what it is. But Smart basically checks the hard drive and gives you diagnostic software. Like if you run a program like Crystal Disk, it's pulling data from Smart. So when you buy a drive from eBay and it says 0 hours on it, even though it's used, chances are somebody reset the Smart codes. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case on some of the 0 hour drives that I bought. But again, you know, when you buy used, it comes with the life, you know. So give it a minute. So at that point, what I would do is I would, here, if it's kind of in a loop, right? Let me clear this up. So if it's in a loop because you can't boot, you might think it's a power issue, or you might think it's a stabilization issue, but it could just be boot looping, and like it's not really turning itself on and off again, it's just restarting itself. Like when you press restart, it's like a soft reboot. It's not so much a shut on and off. They saw a blue repair message, and that's concerning to me because it's like, okay, this means that that could mean a whole lot of things. They didn't post a code or anything like that. I don't expect them to, but blue repair message, that could have just been like a BOSD, blue screen of death. But my question is, why is it that I can't boot to the drive, right? Like if you get a BOSD, you should be able to see that BOSD again, or some sort of automatic repair nonsense with Windows, right? If I was the person who originally owned this, I'd be mad because my data is at risk. But it still is, considering it's in my hands and not theirs. But I'm not gonna fuck with it because that's just disgusting. So, you know, if I was the original owner and I get a BOSD and it's like cycling like this, I'm like, dude, like, where's my fucking data? You know what I mean? Like, I can't access it. Windows is just messing around. I think the biggest issue is the fact that 1, he's running Windows, and 2, he's running Windows 11. So maybe it was just some sort of unstable release, or he dropped his computer, or bricked the drive. I don't know. You know, if taking the drives out, and I say drives because there's an onboard SSD that could be causing this issue, in addition to the hard drive that could be causing the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both out at the same time, so that way I can save effort. There's a 2. Both out to save time and as a concerted effort, and then test drive in, and then I'm going to see where that leads us, and that's the next step. So one thing that we can kind of rule out is onboard devices not including HDD and SSD. And the reason why we can rule that out is because of the fact that, well, we can't rule all of them, but I don't think it's a graphics card, considering we can get fan spin in addition to video from the graphics card. And I don't think it's the CPU. I don't think it's a lot of things. I don't think it's the RAM, considering it just passed its onboard test. but it could be a slowly dying RAM stick. I mean, you don't see it a lot, especially for something that only had like a year of use, you know? So let's see what the test is telling us. So it's saying that all drives are passing. So, you know, what the fuck, right? 229 BIOS. Let me exit. Am I sure? Yes. We had a CMOS error earlier, but like I said, I don't think the CMOS battery could be that old to the point where it needs replacing, but if it does, that's no big deal. Regardless, for $250, if I can get this back up and sell it for like 400 or something, or give it to a friend or something, that'd be real fucking nice to have, because it's like micro ATX, really sleek looking. I mean, come on, right? So let's see what we get. Menu. By spamming escape. So boot menu is F9, BIOS setup F10, system. I don't want to go to boot menu. I want to go to F10. BIOS setup. The reason why I want to go here is so that way I can look at. Aha! Look, the system date is 2021. It's not keeping up. So I want to go back to boot options, and I want to say OS boot manager, Windows boot. So the SK Hynix is the one with the Windows boot manager. So that's the SSD. So they put Windows on the SSD. The date is the 5th. No, 05. Dude, this is horrible. 05. 05. Bro. Oh, enter to go. Okay. 05, 6, 06, and the year is 2024. Okay, cool. So it should be good. I like to get a good picture of all the serial numbers and stuff like that, just in case I need it in the future. Firmware revision, stuff like that. BIOS version is F11, I think. Okay, boot order is going to be the boot manager, which is the SSD, internal disk, USB flash drive, CD, and the network adapter. So the OS boot manager is going to be my SSD, and then we're going to save changes and exit. So maybe fixing the CMOS battery will work. So now it's okay. So what I'm going to do now is power drain the system, right? And the reason why I want to do this is so that way I can see whether or not the CMOS battery is going to keep its date when I spam BIOS again. So power back on to the system, then press the power button. I'm going to spam escape, setup F10, and it kept the date. That's no big deal then. Okay, it's either maybe save changes. Okay, so let's go back to the drawing board. Quick second. So remember CMOS setup and remembered date after what's it called? Power draining the system. So probably not CMOS. Alright, so then that leaves us to try and do this right here. So I'm going to dismantle the system and put in the boot drive, put in my test hard drive. So this is called a Windows Media Creation USB. It's really easy to set these guys up. I've had this guy for about, I don't know, 5 years now. So I have a spare hard drive in the machine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure Windows 10 on it. So the system does not have any boot drive currently. It has an empty drive in it and has my USB. So what's going to occur is that the system is going to realize, oh, I have no other option but to try the USB. And then when it runs the USB software, it's going to be the Windows loading software. At least that's what I hope it's going to do. Alright, so this is your setup wizard. I'm going to go to English. I'm going to go to Install Now. and a whole bunch of loading screens. So you might see some jump cuts in this video, but trust me, you're not missing much. Okay, thank you for choosing Microsoft. Next, go to custom install only. And now you see I have a terabyte of total and free space. And this is the only drive in my system. If you have multiple drives in your system, please be careful, because if you click format, it's gonna be a problem. So I'm gonna click next. And this loading screen takes a long time, so we're gonna, well, hold on a second. No, it does take a long time. So we're gonna jump cut to the end. Very suspect. Was this helpful? You should be able to say yes or no without making an account. I think it's really ridiculous that like it skews the effectiveness of an answer because people who are just browsing your website can't check it. It needs a whole video. But like, dude, websites are becoming so casual, lurker unfriendly, and it's like, make an account, we need you to make an account, we need to show our shareholders that we have so many people making accounts, make an account. It's like, really, dude? Like, that's your metric, is like more users, more people, more accounts. And you know, they especially if the website's like a public company, they'll show it to their shareholders and they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, this is good now, this is we're making money, we're getting more users. It's like, dude, are you joking? It seems to be stable. I'm thinking it's a drive issue as to why it was looping. I like to do a stress test as well, just in case. I think AIDA is a really good one. You can stress test all components. I use that software, or the trial version of that software, recently with my thermal paste video. So I might do it to this guy and do a proper stress test. I think it's fair. Like, if you're gonna sell this, at least use it for a good bit and then like actually give a working product instead of just selling something like untested selling. Like, I get it if you're a business or whatever, but if you're like a casual guy like me and you're selling it to somebody who, you know, this might be their first introduction into PC gaming, I think it's ethical, or more ethical, to have like a proper test done. You know, play a couple games on it on your drive, and then throw in the new drives or used drives that you're, you know, trying to give to the user or give to the client. It really doesn't make sense not to do that, and it only takes, you know, a couple times. You know, like if I had a business, right, there's a lot of downtime in some businesses. I think it'd be cool if you just had a couple employees just say, hey, look, like this hard drive has a whole bunch of games on it, I need you to like benchmark and stress test these components. And like somebody could be like, well, I'm just going to pay my employee to play games, and it's like, stress test. But what we proved is, or I think we proved that these guys were the problem issue. And I was talking to some coworkers when I was talking about this issue, high prob that these were the issue. When I was talking to some coworkers about the fact that was potentially the issue as to why it was resetting, is just because it couldn't get to the next stage, right? It could power, it could post, it could boot. And, you know, so if you're asking yourself this question, it's like, how do you know if it boosts? It's like, can you enter BIOS? If you can enter BIOS, it posts, right? And we did that, and we were able to change settings.
Jesus, I gotta do so much editing for this. Okay, now we're installing. And then it's going to reset itself. So like I said, I think stress testing is extremely important for the client-customer relationship. It just, don't be a dick, man. Don't be just like, I haven't tested it yet, and it's just like a gamble for your customer. Like, you're more likely to sell a product if you go the extra mile for your customer than you will if you just make it a guessing game. Because it's like, if I'm not going to spend $500 on a guessing game
especially if I don't really know much, because chances are if you're buying a pre-built, you probably aren't the type to build your own PC. I mean, like, it was kind of different. It's kind of different these days with GPU prices, and you get some really good deals on pre-builds. But most of the people that I know that have pre-builts are the type that just don't really want to deal with the hassle, or don't really want to struggle or mess up with building a PC. So you have like analyze your client. Your client is somebody who has a pre-built PC. Great. Or in the market for a pre-built PC. Fantastic. But then you say it's used and that they have to play a guessing game on it. Well, if they didn't want to risk anything, why the hell wouldn't they just go and buy a brand new one? So you're automatically isolating a section of your a section of the market that could be interested in your product by making it not tested. If you test it and provide proof of testing with screenshots and photos and everything else, then they're more likely to buy it. Now, it sounds like a yap fest, like, oh, dude, that sounds so obvious, but you know, a lot of computers I see for sale on the used market, some people that have like custom built gaming PCs, which means that, you know, to me, that means that, okay, your grubby little fingers have touched every single component of this thing, and it could work. You could be a master technician, it could work. You could be an average Joe and it could work. Or you could be, you know, Henry Hamfist and destroy every component on the board. I don't know that. And you haven't proven that through your listing. You haven't proven any sort of screenshots through your listing. You haven't proven any... speaking of, like, think about your customer. If you are trying to sell a PC and you don't list part numbers, you don't list this, you don't list that, it's like, I'm just going to scroll away. Because this is kind of ridiculous that anyone would deal with a guessing game when it comes to buying a previously built PC. Doesn't make any sense for anyone to do that. I'm going to restart my system so that way I can reload my drivers, and hopefully I'll be able to stress test my GPU at that point. And once everything passes a stress test and I find components that are, you know, well suited for, or I'm sorry, I found temperatures for components that are good and happy and proper, I can comfortably list this on eBay for a good amount of money. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. It was either the hard drive or the SSD, and off camera I'm going to play a guessing game on which is which and maybe mess around a little bit. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you learned something. God bless. It was actually Ethiopian Easter recently, and I always love it. You know, you got the bread, you got the popcorn, you got the music, you got the iskaska. It's so nice, dude.